What are you doing there? It's a product placement.
I'm having a break.
Do you want me to call an ambulance? Even I can't make out how you've censored that one.
Well, it's about the soft drink where the window cleaner takes his clothes off and everyone stops and watches him.
Robin Asquith from the 70s, Confessions of a Window Cleaner.
No, totally different advert.
Oh, okay. Oh well.
This is the "I don't want you to be no slave" song going on in the background.
I don't want you. Do. That one.
I know you wouldn't get away with that advert nowadays, would you? There'd be too many people saying it's objectifying and all that. It's amazing the stuff that we used to watch. We were wrong to watch.
Apparently,
we were just wrong.
We were well, yeah. So there's lots of programs you can't watch anymore. Can't find them anywhere. They've been erased from history.
They have. Even some songs we're not allowed to listen to, like "Cold Outside" at Christmas. You're not allowed to. They don't. Some radio stations are avoiding playing right now.
You'll have to explain why. Why won't they let you play that?
Because it's apparently it's a bit predatory. It's like Tom Jones trying to get Keris Matthews to stay when she really doesn't want to.
Yeah, I've got to go. Yeah, but it's cold. Get yourself in here.
Get yourself in here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the green grass.
I like Tom Jones on that programme, The Voice. He's brilliant because anybody that goes on the show that's from Wales or their grandparents are from Wales or they've been to Wales, it's like they're not looking at any other judge. And then everybody else just wants to be with will.i.am because he's so cool and like good fun.
And then there's the rotating chairs because they're different judges every season. It's like, they may as well just crayon in the nameplate because they keep changing so much.
Well, will.i.am and Tom Jones have been the same all the way through, I think. In the UK version, he left for a season, didn't he?
He was sacked for a season, and then it was like when it went to ITV, they brought him back because he is a leg end.
He is a leg end. A bit like you. You're a leg end.
I'm an end of leg.
That's you. That's you. That is. Anyway, I've got some questions. If you want some questions, I like starting with questions.
I was quite impressed with my questions last week, which came from Yay Cuff. So I deliberately haven't thought of any. So I'm gonna be influenced by you again. Come on.
Do you want me to start you off then? So
yeah, you go first because I'm white.
Okay. I'm gonna go straight in with a really deep one. Right. What is the film that has affected you the most, either in your thought process or your personal development or emotionally? What is the film that has affected you the most? Not allowed to say Bambi. It's quite deep, that, isn't it?
It is a really deep one. I'd probably have to think about that a bit longer. I saw The Father with Anthony Hopkins recently, and it's one of the only films I've seen in recent years that has stayed with me, and I'll find myself thinking about it in just randomly. And the only way I can describe the movie for anyone who hasn't seen it is it must be the best depiction of what dementia must be like.
That's what it's about, right?
You see, in one scene, you just see this absolutely charming, quite playful, charismatic man, and then just a matter of frames later, you see this very frail 80-plus-year-old, mentally distant, vacant man. And I think for me, there's a lot of things that scare me in life, that you just kind of go, oh, okay, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I think my biggest fear is losing my my mental capacity. I rely a lot on my memory, as you do, I believe, because you and I can pull song lyrics from some obscure 1970s theme tune.
Yeah, I don't know why I've gone in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to lose that, I think, is my biggest fear. So certainly in recent times, it's a Father with Anthony Hopkins. It really has stayed with me. I'm going to have to give the other answer more thought, I'm afraid. But tell me what yours is.
Well, in terms of affecting me emotionally, I think it would be Scent of a Woman.
Oh, Al Pacino.
Al Pacino. Yeah, he's a blind colonel, retired colonel with suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
Dances the Argentine tango with a young Gabriella Anwar, and Robin's in it as well. Chris Donaldson, he's in it. So that was a good film because it isn't a film about goodies and baddies and fighting and like, I mean, we both love action films. We love the Marvel films and all those kind of things. I even like the odd hey film as well. And so we like those kind of films. But it caught me out. It caught me out. It was one of those films. But you see, round about the same time in Decent Proposal, that was one of those films where got you thinking about ethics and that kind of. But the film that really shaped things for me was I went to the cinema in the early 90s, and it was an old art house cinema called the Dovecot Centre in Stockton-on-Tees.
Nice.
And I you know, it wasn't like a cinema, it was like an art centre that they had a cinema screening. And I went and I sat there with a few of my friends to watch this film that people were raving about. Nobody knew anything about the director. And it was Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
And I just remember like the scene when they're in the restaurant arguing about whether they pay tips for waiters and waitresses, and it went on for minutes and minutes and minutes, and a lot of it was ad-libbed, and I've never seen that done before in a film, and it made me. That was probably where I fell in love with cinema. That film, because I realised how clever films. This has gone really, really. Heavy,
yeah, but it's good. I mean,
heavy.
I'm thinking a lot, and I suppose you know I remember seeing Glory. Have you seen Glory about the black regiment in the American Civil War? I remember watching that and just absolutely loving it. And you know, there are so many films like that really do make you think. I mean, the first time I saw Schindler's List, it was just, you know, and kind of it's deliberately poignant, isn't it? Like shot in black and white, and then the few moments of color, the girl in the red coat, the when he relights the candle for the first time, you know, and you see the color in the flame.
Do you want to know a secret? I've never seen it.
Oh well, it's
it just passed me by, and I keep meaning to look for it and watch it because I know it's one of those films that you just have to watch.
I suppose so. My Reservoir Dog moment that you're talking about, where I fell in love with
Moana. Was it Moana?
No, although I do enjoy You're Welcome. I think it's very good. Yeah. But for me, and it's a cliche, but it was Shawshank for me. It was the whole kind of, you know, the innocent, you know, ultimately innocent man made to compromise himself, but just had this long-term plan, and all of the hideous things that happened that you know, just brought back the reality, you know, the reality of life, and it just a fantastic movie.
And it was at this point of the podcast that Russ asked Greg if he had a question for him.
Yeah, yes, it was. It was narrated by Jimmy Krankie.
Jimmy Krankie narrated it. Ian Krankie made cups of tea for.
Okay, so I'm going to have to go for something a little bit flippant, aren't I? Because that was really good, but very.
Oh, I'm sorry, I went a bit deep there.
Very intense.
Don't worry, I've got a flippant question as well.
So, Chubba Chubba lollipops or Chuba Chups.
Yeah.
What's your favourite flavour?
I'm not aware of different flavours. For me, it is the potpourri effect of I'll just have a Chupa Chup, please, and I just Russian roulette it. I'm not aware of. If you said name the flavours of Chupa Chup lollies, I'd say
there's so many:
red, green, white, yellow. I mean, I would name them in colours, not flavours.
I would go for so you've got your classic. So you've got your
Can I
cherry.
go cherry? Can I go? I like cherry flavored things.
Cherry's a strong contender, but then they came out with a cream one. So you had like strawberries and cream and like chocolate and cream, and there was a banana and custard one, and there's a coffee one. And I think
did you know there were one of the companies, one of the first companies to really embrace novelty and high impact point of sale systems.
So yeah, because they had the big barrel, didn't they, with all the kind of pointy out. Yeah. So I would go strawberries and cream myself, although cherry is a strong contender.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll get a cherry, you get strawberries and cream, we can have a lick of each other's lolly.
All right. Down the virtual world. Okay, well that was flippant enough. So what's your second question?
Well, I've got a serious one, then the last one's a flippant one.
Okay, do serious.
You're going to hate me because it's one that you're going to go, oh, I'm going to give you an answer here, and I'm going to think about it later on. So I might ask this question again in a future podcast. But you're having dinner, right? And you can invite 3 dinner guests. They have to be alive. They can't be people that have passed.
Okay.
So they have to be alive. You can invite 3 people anywhere in the world, any genre, to come and have dinner with you. Now, it doesn't have to be just you. You could have some other friends around as well, and you want to include them. But who are the 3 famous people that you would invite round for dinner? Don't have to be. Do you know what? Don't even have to be famous. I just said that. It can just be 3 people.
I always struggle with this because it's so like I've done the alive or dead one, and you know, we've all lost people that we love in our lives, and so often when we're allowed to include departed people, mine end up being quite personal people.
Yeah.
In terms of famous people I'd love around the table, I've seen some amazing people. I've been lucky enough to see some amazing people speak in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So one person that always resonated with me was Chris Gardner, who Will Smith played in The Pursuit of Happiness. So he's the guy that was caring for his son in like homeless. Went up to the bloke in the Ferrari and said, "What do you do? How do you earn that?" You know, and he was brilliant. And you know, I imagine he would be fantastic at a dinner party. I would also love, I'd love some secrets. You know, I'd love to get someone around the table where you could just go, what actually happened? You know, what happened behind closed doors? And
are you on about Bill Clinton, like, or
well, so it would be an American politician, but I think I'd go Obama. Again, because he's a brilliant orator and just a wonderful, you know, like his humor when he did those press dinners, you know, that last one where he was Obama out, you know, and I get that that's all written and stuff, but you need a level of charisma and stuff to kind of carry that off. And then the third place, I really don't know. I'd probably have Stephen Fry, just because he's someone who, once again, you know, highly intellectual, has filled with so many demons throughout his life. He's a staunch atheist, doesn't mind about challenging other people's opinions. So I think the combination of those 3 might be really good. But hey, ask me again in a couple of weeks, it'd be totally different.
That's the thing, isn't it? I think we should do that again. Do you want to know mine?
I really do. Yeah, go on.
So I've written mine down. I'm not going to wing it. I wrote them down earlier on when I was thinking, well, Greg's going to ask me. So the first one would be Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah, a writer of The Newsroom, The West Wing. The
Social Network he did. He did Moneyball. You know, very, very clever guy. I'd just love to ask him where the ideas came from and how because he takes actors that you would never have put into those roles.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be President Bartlett or whether it be Jeff Daniels in Newsroom, or
he was unbelievable.
Incredible. That one of the best opening scenes of any program ever is Newsroom.
Yeah.
When they're in the auditorium.
Yeah. Why is America the best country in the world? And then he just goes. He's just, well, I've had enough. I'm going.
Yeah. Which leads me neatly on to, we'd have the same person over to dinner, and that's Barack Obama.
Yeah.
And you know, the first black president, and he took it in his stride. He was arguably the most charismatic president ever in history. But there's one thing I learned from him that he probably didn't mean to be a lesson, and that is he really used the White House photographer incredibly well. So when he left, and he didn't issue any of the pictures until he left office, and then they issued all of these pictures of just and his instruction to the photographer was just take moments, just capture moments because I want this to mean something. I want it. So him meeting kids from schools that have come into the White House, and him just walking down the corridor laughing with Michelle, or all of those things made being president accessible.
Yeah.
And I think that was just amazing. So I'd love him there. And the third one is completely and utterly. I mean, if I said to you, you've got a million guesses, I don't think you'd get this person. Well, let's not do that. Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay.
Do you know, I love Gordon Ramsay, and I love from what we see on TV. I just don't think he is what we see.
Mhm.
So why would you have Chef Ramsay there?
For that exact reason. You know, this is a guy that, and I've read some biographies around Gordon Ramsay, and even stuff like how did he start out? You know, where did he come from? How did he pick up the skills that he has? How did he pick up his business skills? His father-in-law, who he ended up getting into a legal dispute with, taught him so much and helped him on his way. But now to have developed a brand, you know, there aren't many British celebrities that can walk around the streets of America and everybody will recognize them.
Yeah.
And for a chef that started off as a professional footballer to achieve that, I'd just love to know, you know, what his work ethic was, who helped him stage manage that, because I do think a lot of it is an act, because you see him with his family and he has one persona, and then you see him with it's a staged game show, isn't it? It's formulaic.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in. I'm going to tell you that you're rubbish at what you do. You're going to lose your temper with me. I'm going to break you emotionally. Then we're going to put it all back together, and we're going to spend some money on the show. And I mean, he's just brilliant. He's just as a brand, I think he's very, very clever.
Yeah, and I suppose it's like anything, isn't it? It's the I was having this conversation just before we started recording this, and it's like people tell stories of how stand-up comedians are quite dour off screen, and you know, obviously the classic one is Robin Williams. Bless him, he suffered massively from depression.
Yeah,
and it really is, you know, how much could people leave on screen, and you know, what is an act and what is them, and it's a good lineup, mate. I'd love to see. Ramsay's probably met Obama, I would imagine.
I would have thought so.
Yeah.
And I would
the
have
other
thought
one that
that
neither one of us has mentioned. At some point, you'd have to have the Queen. You'd love to see the Queen just kick back. You know, no airs, no graces, intimate. You know, no standing on ceremony. Liz, take your slippers off. You know, just chillax. Tell us what you actually think about Donald Trump. You know, tell.
Yeah, I think rather than the Queen, I think I'd rather have Prince Charles to dinner.
Yeah,
because I mean that guy's in his 70s now, isn't he? And it's like he's going to be king, and his whole life has been getting ready for that, and that is
he's the
longest.
Heck of a life. He's the longest in waiting, isn't he? He's the longest kind of immediate heir to the throne that the world's ever that is currently alive. I don't know if it's the world's ever seen. And
yeah,
what's amazing is that I'm sure in his mind he was like, right, as soon as mum gets the longest reign title, then she'll step down. And it kind of that came and went, and he's like, oh, okay, I'll focus on my pasties then. Yeah. But you're right, because he is quite outspoken. I mean, he wrote an open letter, didn't he, and openly criticizing the government at one point, and everyone was like, "Oh, you haven't got the right to do that." And he's like, "Hey, this is my opinion."
Yeah, and architecture. He was very outspoken on architecture. And anyway, have you got a second question for me?
I was going to say that's only two
Cool.
questions, right? Who's your favourite Muppet?
Oh, that seems like such an easy question, doesn't it? I like Fozzie Bear. Oh, Gonzo. You like Gonzo, do you? I love Fozzie, but I mean, I think my favourite would have to be for all of the Beaker, is it?
Yep.
Um, I would
Mama.
have I would have said either Miss Piggy
Yeah.
or Professor Bunsen.
Okay. Very good.
Oh no! I know it is. Forget them.
No, hang on.
The Swedish Chef.
Oh, that's mine. Oh,
Yeah.
that's I love the Swedish Chef. So I really do like the Muppets, and I love the Swedish Chef. And the other guy I like is the slimy salesman who sells the boomerang fish.
Oh. With a little mustache. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. But the Swedish, what I love about the Swedish Chef is like, whilst the rest of the Muppets, like Kermit's got his hands and they're on like little rods, and he kind of puts his hands up like that. The Swedish Chef is always done with a real pair of hands, you know, like you used to see where someone puts their hands over their armpit, and he's like, "Hurdy, flirty," yeah, it's just brilliant.
Absolutely genius. Absolute genius. Are you ready for your third question?
I'm ready for my third one.
It's rapid fire, this one. I'm going to speed it up a bit.
We need to-
Skateboard or scooter?
Ooh. Scooter.
Yeah, I'm a scooter as well. Are you the same as me? You don't trust yourself on a skateboard. You've seen too many accidents over the years.
I was just never very good at it. I could never get to a stage where I stood up. I was always that child that kind of knelt on it and used it as a scooter.
Yeah. Hey, well, have you got a third question for me?
I have got a third question. I'm just making it up right now. You ready? Ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm waiting. Yeah.
If you could bring back one animal from extinction, what would it be?
Unicorn.
There's never been any proof it has been a unicorn.
Yeah, there is unicorn. That's the one I'd do. Yeah.
I'm not having that.
If unicorns have never existed, then how do narwhals exist?
Well, you've got me there.
Yeah. And if unicorns had never existed, then how have we got loads of pictures of unicorns everywhere?
Yeah, you're right.
Do you know what? Do you know we have a mutual friend called Hazel Walker, who's an executive director in Canada and America with BNI.
Yep.
And she has a name for me, and that is Sparkle Pony. She calls me her Sparkle Pony. And okay. I like to think she means unicorn. That's what I like to think she means.
Yeah. Sparkle Pony. It's I quite like that. That's better than sawdust.
Yeah. It is better than sawdust. So if you could bring an animal back, what would it be?
I'd bring a saber-toothed tiger.
There's no evidence they existed. I'm just getting you back with the same thing.
No, there really is. There's like a whole series of movies, documentaries called Ice Age.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. That is better proof than the proof that I've provided.
Yeah, I thought it was Sparkle Pony. Okay.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. I would like us to just tell people what happens when you challenge Lisa Ellens to do something. So would you like to set the tone, and I will get ready with the video and sound effects.
Well, see, we feel we have to take this podcast to the next level now that we are available on both Spotify and Amazon Music.
Get in.
So there is no excuse now for you millennials not to listen to us, because we are on the Spotify. And in earlier episodes, Russ bought showed a photo of a list of complimentary items that he received from in Nottingham, and I challenged him on air to sing it like Rapper's Delight, and neither one of us are cool or hip enough to do it. So we challenged the wider audience to do this. And Lisa Ellens, who is she's a wonderful wonderful friend of ours from London Southeast. Her and her husband run a rubbish clearance company. She set up a charity for cystic fibrosis sufferers, and she just stepped up and smashed it out. So, have you got any documentary evidence of her doing this that we could share with the listening public?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I said a toothbrush, toothpaste, cotton cosmetic pads, conditioner and shaving cream, female sanitary pads, the comb, the nail file with a disposable razor blade, a body lotion and a body cloth. It's all complimentary. Say what? I said a toothbrush,
All right, Lisa.
toothpaste.
All right, Lisa.
Calm down, Lisa. It's a way that she said, female sanitary pad.
I like the say what.
Very good. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on with the sunglasses or the drawn-on beard, but I mean, and so
Is
met.
that not her real beard?
No, she's a natural redhead.
Oh, right.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
So we were so impressed with that, and I know some of you have seen that on the Facebook. That's all I'm going to say. The Facebook. So we challenged Lisa and one other to do some more challenges, and Lisa's was to give us super noodle instructions to the theme of Ice Ice Baby, and then we challenged Mark Jacobs to do a song based on turning your computer off and on again. And I'm glad to say at least one of those have stepped up to the plate and done it.
Yeah. Mark could have done it really easy. He could have gone, turn it off. Every now and then you have to wait 10 seconds and then turn it back on at the plug, turn it off. He could have done that, couldn't he? That would have worked. That would have worked brilliantly. Yeah.
I
just thought that there. Genius.
Very good.
Do you want to hear what Lisa came back at us with?
Yes, I do. Here we go.
Super noodles.
Oh my God.
Super noodles.
Beard again.
All right, stop. Boil the kettle and listen. Greg and Russ, there's a tasty sensation. Grab a bowl and a fork so tightly. Students eat this daily and nightly. Then stop at the water to noodles. Let it go soft, don't bamboozle. But Russ, do us all a favour. Hold the gravy, there's a sachet for flavour. Super noodles. Super noodles.
It's very good. So the fact that she shoehorned the word bamboozled in there was just brilliant. But also, I mean, you have to respect the fact that she referenced the gravy conversation from a previous podcast. Very, very good indeed.
I mean, I would go as far as to say that person is a genius.
She is. How did you describe her to me on our Monkey Batman WhatsApp group? She is an everyday genius.
Everyday genius, just an everyday genius.
So we need to set her a challenge for this week, and we also need to invite challenges from other people. It needs to be a well-known rap song. And
does it have to be a rap song? Because I did that. Turn it off. That wasn't a rap song.
That's very true.
Just a well-known song. Should we widen it to? Or?
Okay, so we need a well-known song, and we need an everyday occurrence. So
well-known song, everyday occurrence, brownie points. Brownie points? Yeah, brownie points.
Yeah, brownie points, yeah.
Brownie points if it references some of the stuff we've covered so far on the podcast. So Lisa said, Russ, hold the gravy, because we've had this gravy debate. So if you can work that into it as well, we're probably going to put you in a podcast, to be honest.
So can you step up and beat Lisa? So you can either do your version of Ice Ice Baby based on super noodles or any other ramen based product we would be happy with.
Dehydrated noodle based product.
Or I'll tell you what, let's pick a song, Russ. Should we do the operatic section from Bohemian Rhapsody?
the whole kind of I see a little silhouette.
Exactly that.
Yeah,
Exactly that's a behemoth. And give me an everyday occurrence.
Riding your bike to the shops for a pint of milk.
Brilliant. Okay, so if anyone, Lee Service goes for you as well. If anyone can give us the Bohemian Rhapsody version of riding your bike to the shops for a pint of milk, you will feature in next week's podcast.
I like it.
I
Do you
like
want
it.
do you want a word that isn't used very often anymore?
Yeah, please.
It's a seldom used word. Meldrop.
What does that mean?
It means the liquid with mucus that builds up at the end of your nose. It's a meldrop. Could be cold related, hay fever and allergy related. That's a meldrop.
So how are you spelling that?
Meldrop. Drop. Meldrop. Now it might be pronounced meldrop.
So my nan used to call that a dew drop. Dewdrop.
Dewdrops were those sweets, weren't they?
I don't know what sweets were they.
I don't know, but what would the BFG called it something, didn't he? Snoogleberries or something. He had a funny word for it. Yeah, well, that didn't go down that well. That's a seldom used word. Might get rid of that bit next time. But I've got something I've brought back that we haven't had for a bit.
Well, can I give you my seldom used word?
Oh, yeah, I was trying to move on because I thought you were underwhelmed. But if you've got a seldom used word, I'll try and look a bit more interested than you did.
Well, it's related to yours.
Oh, okay.
It's called borism.
Borism.
And
is that the art of picking your nose?
No, it's the act or condition of being a bore. So if you felt that I was underwhelmed by your word, then I may have said, yeah, borism. I had to skip history class today because the professor had a serious case of borism.
Anyway, I'm moving on. I feel like I'm being bullied in the workplace.
Speaking about being bullied in the workplace, when I used to work on a business to business publication called Fire Magazine, we had a sister publication called International Security Review.
You were called Fire, and they had International Security Review.
And there was a guy I worked with, and I won't name him, but he was one of the least interesting people that I've ever had the privilege of working with in my life. He could take a 2-second story and spread it out to 2 days. And one day he was test driving a new company car, and he came back to the office, and one of the editors said, "Oh, what are you driving?" And it was a new VW Bora, Bora.
Oh yes, I remember them.
And the editor just went, "Was it named after you?" And I just, to this day, I don't think I actually spat out my coffee. It was like one of those comic moments where you go, and it was so quick-witted and so apt, and slightly cruel.
I know how he feels, to be honest. So I'm going to move it on. I've got that section that I'm bringing back that we haven't done for a bit.
Go on. What is it?
It's a bit of a quiz show, right? So I've got a famous business person in my head.
Oh, I love this.
I can only answer yes or no. Now, all I ask is please take it seriously, right? Because in the past, you've just thrown names at me, and that doesn't get you any closer to the answer. So, I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
They're no longer alive.
Okay.
Right, go.
Is it Andrew Carnegie?
You can't just say names, because when you just say names, it's not great for the listeners and viewers. No, it's not Andrew Carnegie. I think I know why we removed this as a section.
Are they from the UK?
No. Now we're getting somewhere.
Okay, they're not from the UK.
No.
Let's see, are they American?
Yes.
They're American. They're a business tycoon, and they're no longer alive.
Yes.
Were they alive during the 20th century, the 1900s?
Yes.
Oh, you had to think though, didn't you?
Well, only because I don't know what the 20th century is. So, but when you clarified it as the 1900s, then yes, they were.
1900s, no longer alive, big business person. Did they make their money in manufacturing?
No.
Ooh.
It's not James Dyson.
No, I was thinking of Henry Ford.
No. Oh, that would have been good, but no.
Thinking of Henry Ford.
I would say more famous than.
More famous than Henry Ford. Wow.
They've reached the heady heights of their name being synonymous with an industry in the same way that Henry Ford was.
Oh my God. I am totally out of luck. You're going to have to tell me. I'm at a
Oh
loss.
my goodness, I'll give you one last clue.
Go on.
Their son took over the business from them, but is now no longer in control of the business. Oh, you're going to kick yourself.
I think I am. I'm having a mental block. Go on.
Walt Disney.
No.
In fact, it wasn't their son, it was their nephew, I think, wasn't it, Roy?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Maybe that's why you didn't get it. I'll give you
Oh.
duff information.
No.
Walt Disney. Walt Disney.
Do you know what the real sad thing is? I would never consider Disney a businessman. Even though, I mean, look,
the multi-billion pound industry that they created.
It's ridiculous, but I'm such a child when it comes to Disney. He's like a wizard. He's an Imagineer. That was very good.
It was very good. I don't know. Well, listeners, can you please judge? Can you when we put this out? Can you please put in the Facebook comments whether you think we should keep famous business people or not? Because there are moments there where I think somebody's pressed Greg's pause button or standby button. So if you could do that. So
yeah, I know. I did.
We've got a few different things we can do. Now I've got three things to cover. I've got business news, Russ's business idea, and who would play them in a film. Which do you want to do? You can do whichever one you want.
I would like to do business news because I feel like it's been a big week for business news.
Just get me business news glasses.
Get your glasses.
Right, are you ready?
I'm ready. Very good.
Business news. Right, so yeah, do you like that?
Yeah, nice.
I'll do it again if you want. Yeah. Business news.
It was a bit like the Mills and it's not Mills and Boons, was it? What was the from the cinema? What was that? That was Pearl
and Dean.
Pearl and Dean. There you go.
Yeah, well,
Mills and Boons is like naughty novels, isn't it?
Romantic novels. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Wetherspoon sales have fallen. They've lifted their no football ban to counter this. So Wetherspoon's pubs have never had football or screens up in their pubs. The whole point is you go in, you have conversation, you have a drink. However, they've been that unpopular in the way that they've furloughed staff and handled staff issues during lockdown that people have boycotted Wetherspoons. So they've put football screens up to show the football. Semi-final tonight for the Euros, England versus Denmark. By the time this gets aired, we'll know the results. So well done, England. I'll put it out there now. So yeah, so that's what's happening at Wetherspoons.
It feels like a knee-jerk reaction to me. I mean, they're trying to, a very thin layer of plaster over the cracks. I mean, probably what they should do is like treat their staff fairly, or serve people who don't know how to use an app rather than leaving them sat at a table for 2 hours, like they have done. There was just a hideous story about an elderly gentleman in Wales who went to Wetherspoons. It was his first time in a pub after lockdown, and he was sat there for 2.5 hours. and it was a fellow pub patron who ended up
Customer.
ordering a drink for him through the app because no one was serving. And I just think when you get to that stage, I mean, Weatherspoons has, with all respect to Weatherspoons, has always known its place. And its place was cheap beer, cheap food, open all day. No, they've never claimed to be a gastropub. They've never claimed to be a craft brewery. They always knew their place. And that's good. It's good to know your market, you know, your market. And what they've done is actually they've alienated a lot of their market because they've victimized the minimum wage 0-hour workers,
Yeah.
you know, which a lot of their patronage is made up by.
Yeah.
And they've tried to be all funky and cool and introduce an app-only system, whereas you've got a big sway of their customer base that aren't particularly bothered about technology. So I think what they're doing here will be seen through, and it won't have an effect.
In the interest of balance, can I just say that their app-based table system is surprisingly good.
Oh, it is.
When it's explained to you, when you know how to use it, and the food and the drink comes relatively quickly because they're quite well staffed, and have been in a actually down in, I think it was Gloucester area, that kind of way, Bath, Gloucester, that kind of neck of the woods, during lockdown, not during lockdown, but during one of the liftings of the, and had quite a good night there. So it's, but and here's the thing, Greg. Employees and people in businesses make a decision to represent that business in the right way or the wrong way. But if they're not supported and they don't feel and they're not enjoying their work, then
they're not going to go above and beyond, are they? They're not going to feel proud to strap on the name badge at the beginning of the shift, and I think that's a fundamental issue. And look, the euphoria around Euro 2020, as it's still being called, which just confused the hell out of me. It's like I'm a year behind. Aside, I don't think a room full of drunk football fans is going to do anything to help anyone other than the bottom line. So it will be, it will be seen through, I think.
Do you want the next item?
I do, yeah. I'm enjoying this one.
I'm speeding up, got a lot to cram in. So, steel-based, Sheffield-based steel company Forgemasters are in the latter stages of a government takeover to secure the supplies that they give to the nuclear submarine fleet. Now, we're similar ages. I think I'm considerably older than you, obviously, but we've grown up during the same cultural references. And for most of our lives, privatization has been the thing that we've seen, apart from the banks being taken into government ownership during the 2008 property and banking crises. For the government to take over an industry like this is a big step for me, I think. It's unusual. It's not a top news story. And I don't know if it's more about the submarine fleet and defending ourselves now that we are out of Europe and where we don't have the same level of support from allies, or whether it is about we have finite resources and we need to protect those. I don't know if there's something behind it, Greg. What do you think? As quickly as you can.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because China, you know, some of the emerging superpowers like China and some of the South American countries, India certainly, have been buying up a lot of stocks of resources. So what the UK government are doing here essentially is securing their supply. I think it's a good move in the short term. In the long term, it won't pay dividend. But in the short term, you know, Sheffield and the steel industry has just been decimated over the last kind of 40 years. So at least it will give them some security in that neck of the woods going forward, probably for 2 decades or so. My only hope would be is they'd use that security to start developing other, maybe become a tech city or something like that. So put the wealth from the local community back into it, rather than relying on a single industry, which we've all, like, loads of towns have fallen foul of in the past.
And what I like about that is that you said that's your only hope, and I thought Obi-Wan Kenobi was your only hope. So that's been quite helpful to know that there is a new hope.
There is a new hope. Episode 4 rename. Yeah.
The last story is BrewDog have released, and these guys are brilliant at using the media. They're brilliant at using the media. BrewDog have brought out a beer called Clean and Press. So it's a bit like the gym action Clean and Press.
Yeah.
And they've released the advert with a statement from themselves on it saying, "We cannot claim this drink is healthy." And I think it's brilliant because by association, it's like, oh, is this drink healthy? And the advertising watchdogs are slamming them for it, saying that it's inappropriate advertising. I think it's clever advertising. And the people that would think that it is a healthy drink are the same people that need caution contents hot on a McDonald's coffee.
I think it's very well timed. They've just weathered the storm over their previous employees saying that their working environment was toxic.
They have.
So they needed some clever, and they did a lot of clever things during the pandemic. Like they offered up BrewDog pubs. We've got open spaces, we've got refrigeration units. Why don't you use us as vaccine centres?
Sanitizer. They provided sanitizer free of charge.
They did, yeah. So they've got a long line of being incredibly clever, and I'm not adverse to this. I think it's I think it's clever advertising, and that's what companies need to do to get ahead. So well done BrewDog. I think again another in a long line of very, very clever stuff.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the news stories because they were business news. That's what that section was. Who played Bill Gates in the film?
Oh, hasn't Bill Gates been played in the film? Or have they not?
Forget that. I'm not aware of it, but I'm sure he has been depicted somewhere. But knowing all the actors that who would play Bill Gates in a film?
Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, I don't think you're taking it seriously again.
Oh, I am. This is my Jack Black comment. I think he would play him. I mean, we're talking an older Bill Gates right now, so he would play him slightly older. But if you think of how Bill Gates looked, he's kind of spindly. He's a bit caricaturesque. I think Rowan Atkinson would play an older Bill Gates very well. Now, if we're looking at a young Bill Gates, once again, we're looking at, someone very thin, slender, kind of wiry.
Shia LaBeouf.
No, he's disappointed me. He's really
he's crazy, that kid.
I mean, he'll find out that we've mentioned him. He'll turn up at your house
with a paper bag on his head.
Yeah,
and do you know what I think could be able to play him quite? And I'm going to win this because of this.
Go on,
Rick Moranis.
Yeah, I can see it.
How Bill Gates is today, I think Rick Moranis could shrink his fortune just the same way that he's shrinking his fortune by getting divorced and giving it away and all that.
I think Tom Cruise should play
him. Just with his blade hands.
Yeah. Just when Windows 98 crashes again, he can just. He can just.
Didn't you used to hate that sound? You're in the middle of doing something and your screen would go blank, and then all you hear is. But in the film, in the early days when he was busy trying to build the business, Tom Cruise would be running around, and you could hear this voice go, "At this point, Bill realized he needed to get some employees." you know, like that. That didn't sound anything like the voice, did it?
Jimmy Cranky. No,
Jimmy Crank, no.
it doesn't sound anything like it.
Hey, well, I was thinking we could
Okay, so
finish off
you-
with a couple of
you-
business ideas I've got. No,
You definitely win with the older
there you go.
Rick Moranis.
Yeah. You
Who
still
was the
haven't
guy
given
who
me a
played?
wiry one?
Is it James
McAvoy, he could do it.
He could do the younger one, yeah.
Could do it. Or even Toby Maguire, he could
Oh,
do it.
Maguire's a good shout, actually.
Tom Holland. I'm just naming Spider-Man now.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield. Yeah,
Andrew
also.
Garfield could do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want business ideas or not? Do you want
I think we need them.
I want to know if you want to invest before we slide out the other end of the show a little bit like somebody slipping over in House Party with Pat and Mick.
Okay.
Pat Sharp's House Party.
I just remember.
First idea.
Fun
Are
House.
you ready?
I'm ready.
Fun House. Noel Edmonds had a house party. Pat Sharp had Fun House. It's a whole lot of fun. There's prizes to be won.
It's a real crazy game that anyone can play.
Fun House. So, the first idea, knuckle duster. Right now, bear with me.
Go on.
It's not what you think. It's not what you think. It's not a. It is a brass knuckle duster. However, it's got a feather duster on the top of it, and it allows you to get your fist into all the places you cannot dust normally, and it's called feather knuckle duster. It's called because it's a knuckle-based dust system.
So what areas can you get a fist into that you couldn't get a feather duster into, which is thinner and more pliable?
Somebody's face.
See, when you were saying knuckle duster, I thought it was pork products, like a pork knuckle.
No, because that's how your brain works, and
it's mainly food based.
Nobody would have thought that. So it's all right. I'll cross that one out. It's just in the art. Bear with me 1 second, lads. Stop production.
Stop it.
Yeah, we'll weigh all the brass in. We'll get some money for that.
Yeah. Okay, go on next.
Hell to pay.
You've nicked that. You've nicked that from my Joe Biden and
what are you on about?
Donald Trump Rumble in the Jungle version. Hell to pay.
I don't know what you're on about. It's been with me R&D team.
You bet.
No, totally original. Totally. I'll have to look back at the recordings. Hell to pay, and it's a wig business for the Halloween market. Hell to pay. That's what that is. It's nothing to do with Joe Biden and no. So is that a no then on that one?
Well, obviously I'm in.
Oh,
I came up with it.
What's you say that, but
what's your leading product line?
It's I haven't plagiarized at all, but it's a Donald Trump style wig that has a button right that you press and it lifts up like that. Yeah,
it waves at you as you go down the road. I'm not.
There's two things I'm definitely not doing here. One of them is plagiarizing.
Yep.
The second thing is just recycling old ideas because I've run out of ideas. Neither of those things have happened on this occasion.
No, I can totally see that.
So it just remains for us to say that if you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm probably over here, like over that way, but and this up that way or wherever it is. Subscribe to the YouTube channel because you'll get notification every time that we put a new video out there. Please share our Facebook page with your friends if you think that they would enjoy the serious balance of well over 8% and 10% news on business, well over. And also, if you're on Spotify, look us up. If you're on Amazon Music, look us up. If you're on Podbean, look us up. And if you've got any ideas for segments, because clearly I'm just plagiarizing from Greg in his everyday life now, he's going to see me be like, Ross, what are you doing in the garden? Nothing. Not getting ideas from what you're doing at all. You know, so if you've got any ideas, get them in the into the Facebook page. And don't forget, we've set a musical challenge that surely there's other people out there that can sing other than Lisa Ellens.
And on that note,